Hey YouTube, Rook here from Rook Geek Goodness, my little channel on the web for all things geeky and cool. And this video, guys, is another action figure review. We're going to be looking at the Mattel WWE Network Spotlight Toys R Us exclusive AJ Styles figure. Now, I picked this figure up about two and a half months ago. It was near the end of 2017. I saw it at Toys R Us. I wasn't even aware that they made Elite Network Spotlight exclusive figures, and I saw this AJ Styles figure, and I had to get it. Now, if you're not familiar with AJ Styles, he was a real big professional wrestler in TNA back years and years ago. He transitioned to a company called New Japan Pro Wrestling, or NJPW, for several years. He was extremely successful there. Then he broke into WWE in 2016. This particular set of gear you're looking at is his Wrestlemania 33 gear. Now, I'm also going to do a comparison in my breakdown to this guy here, which was the AJ Styles Elite figure from Wave 47, which we'll talk about him in the breakdown segment shortly. But this was his Wrestlemania gear, and I think it looks really, really good. So what we're going to do is go into a full breakdown segment. I'm going to look at the packaging as a whole. I'm going to look at the articulation, the paint, and the accessories the figure may or may not have, and conclude the video and final thoughts for you, the viewer. Should you pick up the Mattel WWE Network Spotlight AJ Styles figure exclusive to Toys R Us? Stay tuned, guys. We're going to go into a breakdown. Alright guys, we're in a breakdown segment looking at the Mattel WWE Network Spotlight Toys R Us exclusive AJ Styles figures featuring his Wrestlemania 33 gear set. So let's actually take a look at the packaging like we always do. Packaging is pretty clean here from what I'm seeing. Great presentation, the way it looks. You of course have the figure in the bubble inside and a piece of accessory, which in this case is his vest that he normally wears. It does say AJ Styles in the bottom corner here on a diagonal, as you see me pointing right here. It does mention the Network Spotlight on this side. On this side here you have a side shot of AJ, which does say WWE Network Spotlight over here and the WWE logo on the top. On this side, you have another WWE logo, and it says AJ Styles, another picture of his head here. On the back, you have the same identical artwork that we saw on the side, as well as a picture of him right here with his arms out, his signature pose. And of course, you have what his signature would look like if he signed something for you. So I think this is a great presentation, the way this figure looks, all in all. Alright guys, we have the Mattel WWE Network AJ Styles exclusive Toys R Us figure out of packaging. The first thing we always do is look at the presentation of the actual figure first and foremost, mainly the color. It looks really good. He's showcasing here his Wrestlemania 33 gear. It's red, white, and blue. Of course, he has a red glove here, a blue glove on this hand, so he has a red glove on his right hand, which would be your left, a blue glove on my left, which would be your right, and it follows down the color all the way down the figure here to the boots. The boots on the left side here is left, the boot on the right side here is red. He has white pants with sort of like Japanese calligraphy on this side and this side here, because of course he did go to Japan for a while. On this side we have the P1 logo, the actual design he's well known for in WWE and of course in Japan. But we'll talk about this logo shortly because there's a big deal with this actual logo here. If we come to the actual face sculpt here, the face looks really good. Great likeness to AJ, looks just like him. I like this face sculpt much better than his Screaming Mouth face sculpt, which was, they did a wave or two after the number 47 Elite figure AJ Styles. I don't like that mouth screaming head. I think it looks really bad. To me, it doesn't say AJ Styles. This head right here screams AJ Styles. Now, if we go down the actual, look at the chest here, you will see chest hair, which has been designed in, has actually been painted in place. Many people have asked the question, what does this mean right here? He has a big tattoo that says AJ here, and you see some dates. I kind of showcase, getting really close so you can see it. These are the dates of his kids. These are the birth dates of his children, if you weren't aware. He has it tattooed on his side. He started that in the days when he was in TNA. So he actually, as he had more and more children, he got more and more dates tattooed on the side here. Again, he does have white pants here, sort of red and blue trim around the waist. And it goes down the legs, black trim here on one side, black trim on the other side. Of course, we talked about the P1 logo, which I'll go into more detail about shortly. He has a set of knee pads on both his knees and an elbow pad here. Speaking of the elbow pads, let's talk about the articulation now. The actual articulation is pretty good on these Elite figures. There's a lot of articulation. The head can spin 360 degrees with no hindrance. You have up and down movement. There is a chest crunch here, an ab rocker right here in the chest, so he has a good amount of movement in the chest. The hands, this arm here, which would be my left, your right, this one seems a little bit tighter to me than the right one. The right one I have no issues moving at all. The arms can go out to a full T. The left one here, again, is a bit tighter than normal. The left arm here does have a bend here, a single bend at the bicep. There is a bit of paint around the actual arm here, around, I guess, the forearm. And you have the blue glove here with the black knuckles designed in. It does say Styles and A1 on this hand here. It says A1 and AJ Styles on the red one as well. This arm will have a bit of hindrance because of the elbow pad with the P1 logo. Good shot right there of it. So you see the P1 logo design. You will have a loss of mobility on this arm because of that elbow pad. You probably could move it up higher to get that motion back, if the motion that you would have lost. But to me, that's okay. I have no real issue with it. Moving down the figure here, if we look at the legs are very, very odd, and I showcased it on the 47 review when I did the other figure, which of course is this guy here, which we'll talk about him shortly here as well. The range of motion on the legs are very, very odd. You can't really go in this way in this amount of articulation. It's about as far as you can get. The reason is they changed the articulation with a lot of these Mattel figures so you can actually split the legs, how you see me doing here, and they will rotate all the way around 360 degrees. So if you try to force the legs, it's really not designed to go in that range of motion. It has this weird splay here where you can splay the legs out in this way, not in the typical this way, which is very, very odd for Mattel figures. I don't know why they have some that allows you that level of articulation and others don't. Now, if you're curious, this leg does spin 360 degrees. When you have the legs out in this position, you can turn them 360 with no loss of movement at all. So I do like that as well. Knees is an issue because you can only get so much amount of articulation because of this knee pad. It is a double jointed knee, but you're going to lose a little bit of articulation just because the way this covers the actual knee joint up itself. Again, you could probably remove these knee pads if you wanted to. I'm going to leave them in place because I like the way they look. I really don't have an issue with it. And of course, we go all the way down to the figure. You have the Phenomenal on the red boot, which we talked about, and the one on this boot. So great design for that. Now let's actually talk about his accessory. He is having a vest. He showcases a vest here. It's sort of a red vest, same color scheme as his gear, with a sculpted hood that's in the down position, showcasing the Phenomenal P1 logo here. It is open. There is no button. There's no clip. So you just slip this onto the figure. So this is a bit tricky here to get it on the figure. So you have to actually just slide it in and work the actual arms in the position here. I have lots of issues with this vest. It is rubbery material, so you can get it on usually with no problem once you start working the vest in position, as you see me doing here. I do like the way it looks. It looks really, really good. This is the first time me putting the actual vest on the figure, so I broke it in pretty easily. I do like the way the vest looks. It basically, it follows the color scheme throughout the entire outfit, as you can see here. And once you break the outfit in, again, it's like sort of rubbery material. It is rather solid, so I don't see it breaking down anytime soon. So I do think it looks really, really good here. I do highly recommend it. Now, one thing about the actual figure I do like is the vest on the back here. Of course, we talked about the P1 logo, which I'll get to in a second. And I like the hood, which it does say AJ right here. It might be hard to notice it. It's sort of in a red text here on the back of the hood. So it does look really, really good. I really like the way they designed this actual vest for him. Now, I've been talking about it throughout the entire video. Let's bring in the 47 figure here, which is this guy right here. He does come with another accessory, which this figure does not have, which is this kind of backdrop. This AJ Styles figure has it here. It's a piece of cardboard that you could basically just slide in and out. To me, I'm not a big fan of it. I think it kind of just wears and tears pretty easily. As you can see, this one's already worn. I barely ever use this piece of cardboard, but I do like the stand. The stand is really, really neat. It has a WWE logo right there. You can see it there, with a little peg that the figure can stand on. So I think that's really, really cool as far as this piece. Meaning if I could take the cardboard out, just have this black backdrop. I do like this accessory for this bottom piece alone. This piece here, I do like this piece. I wish this figure here would have come with this accessory. I have to check here. Yeah, and there are foot pegs here if you were curious. You can peg him on this stand if you were curious to swap this from this figure to this figure. It is interchangeable, just so you'll know. Now, if we compare the actual figures here, both the Elite 47 and the Network Spotlight WWE geared WrestleMania 33, there are identical sculpts between these two figures. There's no real difference between this figure's sculpt, the design, the buck, and this one here. Same head sculpt, same design. You can see it here. They are the identical head. Get it right there so you can see it. They are identical in size. This may look a little bit smaller compared to this one. That's mainly because of the vest. This vest here, is the black vest, is a bit thicker and sort of a different material compared to this one here. It's much more rubbery. This is more stiff on this one. Now, if we actually look at the gear itself, I turn it this way, you can notice, kind of move it in the shot a little bit so further back so you can see it. It is basically the same. He has the same blue glove on this hand. He is missing this blue around the actual forearm, this blue right here. If we come to this side, he does have the same elbow pad, and he has a red glove instead of a blue glove. Now, if you notice here, this elbow pad on the 47 does not have the P1 logo. It has it on this one, but not on this one here. I'll kind of get it right there for you so you can see. It is missing the actual paint of that P1 logo. And if we come down to the other side, which is over here, again, we were talking about the legs now. If you look at the legs on the white one here, you do see the P1 logo, and the black one you have, I think it's Phenomenal, listed on this one here. On the black one, on 47, this one you have the P1 logo, and importantly on the back, if you look at the back of the figure here, you will see the P1 logo here, but no logo, no any type of paint or paint apps at all on this black one. So what is it all about? I've been hampering it through the entire video. What am I getting at? Basically, when AJ came into the WWE, he wore this gear right here, this black set of gear. This was his Royal Rumble debuting gear. Now, what was very, very funny about this particular situation is that he's actually talked about in length in interviews that the P1 logo, this logo right here that you see, and on his leg right there, and the elbow pad, of course, was not yet given final approval by WWE. They were still working the details out of his logo when he debuted in the Royal Rumble. That's why I'm bringing it up now. This, to me, is very iconic gear for him, because he told me this, he said in an interview, not to me personally, but in an interview, that this gear that he's wearing here was a one-off gear. He will never wear this gear again, he said in interviews before. And it's very, very sentimental to AJ because he didn't have the P1 logo on the gear, because he got it into the Royal Rumble so quickly. But I do think both figures are really, really good. If you ask me which figure is better, they're both good figures. Pricing is a bit higher on this one, the WrestleMania gear. It's about $60 US compared to the Elite 47 gear, which is about $30, $35 US. So I hope you like this breakdown segment. Let's go to final thoughts and wrap up this video. Alright guys, final thoughts on the Mattel WWE Network Spotlight Toys R Us exclusive AJ Styles figure from the Elite class. This is a very, very good figure. Great amount of articulation, great amount of detail. The paint is very, very solid. I highly recommend this figure. The biggest negative to take away with this video, guys, is the price. This thing is rather expensive. I picked it up, like I said, about two and a half months ago on a toy hunt, and this had a price point back then of between $90 and $100 US. The price has dropped significantly now to about $60 US. It's still a pretty bit high in my personal opinion for an action figure. If we look at the actual Elite 47 way figure for the AJ Styles, this has a price point of about $30, $35. Which would you want to spend? In my honest opinion, both are good, mind you, both are good, but the Network Spotlight WrestleMania set gear is a little more pricey. This one is really good too, mainly because AJ Styles has said in specific interviews that this gear set that you see here on the 47 figure, which was his first release figure in WWE, does not have the P1 logo, which we showcased it on the actual vest in the breakdown on the back of the vest. It does not support the P1 logo because the P1 logo, when he debuted at Royal Rumble, was not yet given approval by WWE higher-ups in their creative department and their marketing. The whole P1 logo design, where he puts his hands together to make the actual logo on the inside of his gloves and the back of his jacket, was not yet given final approval yet when he debuted in Royal Rumble. That's why this gear set here is very, very special to at least to AJ Styles and to collectors, mind you, because it does not showcase the P1 logo. Well, this set of gear does in fact have that. So if you say which one is really better, that's actual buyer's preference. I think they're both good. If you're willing to spend more money for the actual Network Spotlight WWE Wrestlemania figure, go with this one. If you want to spend less money, go with the Elite 47. Again, both figures are very, very good. I would get them both if you can afford both, but if you had to pick one, go with the Elite 47 just because it's cheaper. It actually is a different set of gear. It again has same amount of articulation, same face sculpt, same design. Everything is the same except the gear color and some different paint apps between this figure and that figure here. So I hope you like my Mattel WWE Network Spotlight figure review of AJ Styles. Definitely click that like button at the bottom of the page. Always click subscribe, which is a picture of my face. When you click the subscribe button, you'll see a little bell icon. Click that to be notified of my newest videos. And you can come over here to click Windows to watch more of my content. Take care, guys. I'll see you next video, and bye-bye.